Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching my videos. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the in operator and the not operator. So in is sometimes used instead of or, because if you want to include a bunch of records and you keep using or, then the lines and just the query can look a bit messy. It's sometimes even used instead of like, but with like, you're able to use some wildcards, but I'm not going to discuss like in this video. I'll save that for another video. But jumping right into in. So let's say to select prod name or prod price from products where vend ID. So I guess I might as well include vend ID as one of the columns, where vend ID in BLL 01, BRS 01. And so what this is essentially doing is this is the same thing as writing where vend ID equal to DLL01 or vend ID equal to BRS01. So it's going to bring back all of this data from where the vendor ID equals either one of these. The thing is, if you wrote or for this, it'll look a bit more messy, and this just looks a bit cleaner, especially if you have a ton of vendor IDs where you want to get records from. So like if I did this with or, it would be like this. Where vend ID equals DLL01 or vend ID equals BRS01. So it's like you would have to keep doing this or if you wanted more vendor IDs. Whereas with this, you can just put the vendor IDs in the parentheses separated by commas and the vendor ID between these quotes right after this in. So this is the syntax for it. So when I run this, it's bringing back the vend ID, the prod name, and the prod price for those two vendor IDs. Just all that information for either this or this. So that's how you use in. So moving on to not. Not is exactly how it sounds. It's information that you do not want brought back. So let's say I do select vend ID, prod name from products, where not vend ID, this is the syntax, where not column, where not vend ID equals DLL01. So this is going to bring back the vendor IDs and the product names from products, but it's not going to include any data where the vendor ID is DLL01. And just needs a semicolon. So if I run this SQL, it's always, oh, right, these are my only two columns anyway. So yeah, as you can see, it brought back the BRS01 vendor ID, the product name for those vendor IDs, and then also the FNGO1 and the products for that. But it did not bring back DLL01. That's because I used the not operator. Now, depending on your preference, you can also do it simply by select vend ID prod name from products, where vend ID, you can use this symbol. And I think this symbol is available to use across most databases, not just Oracle, but also like Microsoft and MySQL and other DBMSs. So where vend ID is not equal to DLL01 semicolon. And yeah, it brought back the same thing, all the records that are not DLL01. So if I do BRS01 semicolon, it'll bring back the DLL01s and the FNGO1s because it's everything that's not BRS01. Anyway, so that was how to use the or operator and the not operator. I'll make another video on how to use the like operator because it's very important for further advanced data filtering. And you can also use wildcards when using the like operator. And I'll explain how to do that in my next video. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe this video.